Jared Smith picks the Tigers, and oh boy, they got a good one.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Of course, Locked On Auburn, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jared Smith, the edge defender from Thompson High School, picks the Auburn Tigers. We saw this coming, but it still doesn't make it any less exciting. Jared Smith, a five-star player according to 247, and because of that, we will be using 247's rankings for the discussion of this show. But he picks the Tigers on Saturday night. He set this date a long time ago. He still took his visits, but Auburn really liked where they were for the remainder of his recruitment since he set this visit. And to me, this seemed like a slam dunk. Once again, this coaching staff getting in early. Just because it's not dramatic at the end doesn't mean it's not exciting. Hugh Freeze and this staff, this has kind of been a theme. And we talked about this a little bit with Blake Woodby and several other of the guys that committed over Big Cat Weekend. It's like, just because you expect them to commit, it just means that this coaching staff is doing a good job at getting guys on board. And Jared Smith is the latest version of that. As far as who Jared Smith is, like we said, he's from Thompson. Very talented player. 6'6", 235 pounds. We saw him. We all went to Baumhauer's Saturday night after Big Cat. And that's where all the players were. And just seeing him interact with some of the other guys, he looks larger than 6'6", if that's even possible. I mean, he's every bit of it. He is a complete football player when you talk about the frame that Jared Smith has. He projects to be an edge defender. I can't wait to see what they do with him because, one, he's got a full year of high school football left, as do all of these guys. But at 6'6", 235 already, I can't wait to see how much weight they ask him to gain because he can carry it. He can carry every bit of it, which is going to prove to be versatile because this is already a versatile guy. We'll talk about that more in a second, but could you possibly let him put his hand in the dirt as well and play some strong side defensive end down the road if you want him to? Or you just say, hey, Jared Smith, you're 6'6", you got really long arms. Just go get the passer. Just go get the quarterback on 3rd and long. Regardless, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You want guys like Jared Smith on your campus and on your roster, and you'll figure out his exact role when he gets here. Because when you look at what Jared Smith does as a football player, in any sort of versatile front where your buck or your edge or your, jack, whatever you call it, whatever your defensive coordinator at the time calls that position, in DJ Durkin's defense, it's a buck. You want guys that can do different things. Obviously, you want guys who can set the edge in the running game. You want guys who can rush the passer in the passing game. And also guys that can drop back in coverage. And for the most part, it's going to be kind of a zone where you ask them to cover the flat or possibly a man-on-man situation if you want them to take a back out of the backfield or possibly a tight end. But Jared Smith can do all of those things. And he's doing it at a high level at Thompson. He's going to do it against the top competition in the state of Alabama because the state of Alabama, when it comes to high school, no matter what other fan bases are telling you, the state of Alabama is towards the top. And they're continuing to produce talent. So Jared Smith, the second-rated player in the state, I think that's consensus. Everywhere I've seen that, I spend most of my time on 247 and on 3, but he's the second player in the state on both of those. I assume it's the same on Rivals and ESPN, but I'm going to be honest, I haven't checked. But Naheem Offord is that one who's committed to Ohio State, the corner from Parker. Then Jared Smith is right behind him. 5-star on 247. He's a 4-star everywhere else. But when you look at this top 10 now that Jared Smith is on board, Naheem Offord, the top player, and Zion Grady, the edge defender out of Enterprise, He's sixth. Those two are committed to Ohio State. According to 247, the other 8 are all committed to the Auburn Tigers. Jared Smith, Malik Autry, Caleb Falk, Eric Winters, Derek Smith, Jordan Crawford, Anquan Fagans, and Antonio Coleman. It's a strong situation to be in, folks. It's a strong situation to be in. And we've been talking about it in hypotheticals for the last week or so. If Jared Smith commits to Auburn on Saturday night, now that he has, we could say it. We could say, according to 247, Auburn has 8 of the top 10. And man, the more I see it, the more folks that think there's a real shot at Naheem Offord, which that would be incredible. But 8 of the top 10, it's really, really strong. And that's not counting Alvin Henderson, who's a few more spots down. And then Spencer Dolan, who's a guy who I could actually see being a riser, a really solid member of this class if it all stays together. So just really, really exciting stuff when you look at what Jared Smith does to the Auburn Tigers. I also love that this gives Auburn another 5-star. So according to 247's rankings, Jared Smith and Malik Autry are both 5 stars. They're both in the front 7. They're both going to be on the defensive line. And that's what you need to compete at a high level in this league. And if you guys listen to me consistently, which we've picked up a lot of new listeners over the last few weeks, welcome. Hope you're enjoying this as much as we all are. My biggest concern for this year's team is being able to rush the passer. But man, when you look at what's coming, the guys who are true freshmen now or sophomores, when you talk about Keldrick, and then what's coming in, man, it's like this coaching staff's like, we don't want to feel this way again. We don't want to ever have to worry about, are we going to be able to rush 4 and that be enough? Because the guys that they are bringing in this upcoming class with Jared Smith and Caleb Falk, it's just a good spot to be in, folks. It's a good spot to be in. So where is Jared Smith ranked across the board? And what does this mean for the Tigers moving forward? Well, I'll tell you in just a second. That's right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Can you imagine betting anywhere else? I can't. I certainly can't. Don't even want to. FanDuel Sportsbook, it's the best betting app in the world. I mean, we all love sports, and right now it's a little slow because you can't wager on the stuff that we're following closest. That's fall camps and recruiting. You can't wager on that. So right now it's just pretty much MLB stuff or golf if you're into that. I'm not. My mother is. Hey, Mom. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. So there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball and the Locked On Podcast Network. So when you look across the board at where Jared Smith is ranked, it's all good. I mean, it's just across all of it. The Thompson edge, it's all good. So consensus number 2, when you look at the industry ratings, he is second. The composite or On3's industry ratings, he's number 2. He also is ranked as the number 4 edge in the entire country. We just said something similar to that not too long ago. What was that? Oh, the 2026 class, Hezekiah Harris is a top 2 or 3 edge, depending on where you look in the entire country. Pass rusher galore is about to be what the Auburn Tigers defensive front is. It's exciting. It's exciting. But a consensus top 10 player in the state. His lowest ranking is 8th on Rivals. So they've got him way lower than the other spots. Take that for what it's worth. His recruitment's been interesting. You know, it sounds like Georgia made a late push at Jared Smith, but the Tigers held him off. And I mean, it kind of, I don't think it's as dramatic as the Marcus Riddick situation was a year ago, but it's similar. You've got a guy that's really good that you're leading with. And for a while it was South Carolina. Then Auburn led the charge. And then Georgia's like, wait, this guy's good. This guy's good. Maybe we should go and get him. And I think Jared listened, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you listen to Georgia if Georgia's calling you, especially if you're a defensive player? But what this coaching staff is pitching consistently to these top kids, they're listening, man. And not only they're listening, they're saying, sign me up. I'm ready to get in the boat and let's rock and roll. So obviously exciting stuff with Jared Smith. Okay, so if you guys are going to ask who's next, well, I thought Tyler Lockhart would pop already, so he's probably my answer. It's got to be him or Sam Turner. So Tyler Lockhart is the linebacker from Mississippi. He was a part of Auburn's class, decommitted. Seemed like Mississippi State became the favorite, but now it seems like the pendulum has swung back towards the Auburn Tigers. We'll see what happens there. And then Sam Turner, Georgia Tech wide receiver. Somebody got mad at me when I dissed Georgia Tech, so I'm going to be very nice to Georgia Tech when talking about Sam Turner. Auburn's a better program than Georgia Tech, and Sam Turner's better than Georgia Tech. I couldn't do it. Sam Turner, he visited Big Cat as a Georgia Tech commit. There's a lot of buzz that he could flip. And so we'll see if that potentially happens in the coming days. There's a lot of smoke about something else happening this week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. But the recruiting momentum isn't going away. And there were jokes about Big Cat weekend turning into Big Cat week. Sure. But if it continues like this, at some point we got to say it's Big Cat month. And I'm okay with that. And I bet if you're watching this, you are too. Jared Smith, the 5-star edge rusher from Thompson up in Birmingham. Welcome to the 2025 Auburn class. Very exciting stuff. Comment below or let me know on social media. Who do you think is next to commit to the Auburn Tigers, and how pumped are you for Jared Smith? We'll discuss everything on Monday's edition of the show. Be sure to like the video. Please subscribe. And if you're listening on audio, please subscribe as well and leave us a review. Leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or on iTunes, especially. It would really help out the show. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.